Jace is the wedding planner everyone in this city worships, yet he never once tossed a single scrap of romance my way. 5 years together, and I still hadn't seen a proposal diamond ring. What arrived first was his wedding invitation. Him and his childhood bestie, Lila. I stepped off the plane, rode straight to the glass-walled botanical venue he'd designed, and walked in while the processional was peaking. The two of them sliding matching wedding bands onto each other's fingers. Jace spotted me, didn't pause, simply finished the ritual. Then, under the cheers of the crowd, they kissed like the finale of a rom-com. He led Lila over, hand in hand, and shrugged. "Just a joke, don't take it to heart." I hooked a smile, brushed a speck of lint from his lapel. "No worries, I don't take you to heart either." I wasn't heartbroken, just bone-tired. Probably because he'd never bothered to conjure one romantic moment for me, yet had whipped up an entire wedding ceremony for Lila on a whim. I stared coldly at their entwined fingers. The diamonds caught every camera flash. In my pocket sat a little velvet box, my own ring, the one I'd flown home ready to offer him. I'd thought maybe he had some unspeakable fear, so I'd step up and do the asking. Never guessed he was already wearing a matching wedding band with someone else. Jace caught my gaze, lifted their clasped hands, and wiggled those diamonds at me with a smirk. "Jealous? Come on." Lila and I grew up together, basically brothers. We even practiced kissing as kids. I stepped in, jabbed his shoulder hard, narrowed my eyes. "So you're marrying your bro, huh? Congratulations, didn't know you were gay, Jace." He hates that accusation. His face is delicate, fair, constantly scoped out by guys in bars who slip him phone numbers on torn-off flyers. Predictably, he dropped Lila's hand like it burned, looking as if he'd swallowed garbage. Lila frowned, tugged his sleeve, and cooed. "Jace, what are you saying? I'm your best Lila sister." He gave her that fond grin, tapped her nose. I seized his wrist, yanked him close, slapped the invitation against his chest. "Explain." Amused, he tucked the card into his inner pocket, winked at Lila. "Just a game. Lila's dreamed of a big wedding since we were kids. She and her fiancé were supposed to do it today, but the groom bailed. Everything was paid for, shame to waste it, so we staged this to grant her wish. Pretty amazing design, right?" He fanned his fingers, flashing his ring. "Picked the band myself." "Nice, yeah?" Lila drifted over, lace hem trailing, eyes wide and innocent. "Long time no see, Stella. Don't overthink it. I mailed the invite specially so you'd see the truth." Jace agreed. "You're the most understanding person ever." He nodded, waiting for my forgiving smile, certain I'd swallow it because I'd loved him that much. I shoved his shoulder away, exhaustion hollow in my voice. "Jace, you've orchestrated hundreds of weddings. You know exactly what exchanging rings and Jamie means." I paused, crushing the tiny box in my pocket, voice dropping rough. "You're mocking your own profession." He looked down, spinning the ring board. "I've seen sham marriages, staged ones, coercion. Marriage is basically meaningless." The commotion lured nearby guests, Jace's buddies, the same pack I'd rarely met in 10 years. They crowded Lila, drunk, jeering. "Stella, not cool. Even if it's fake, it's festive. Don't ruin the fun." I clenched my jaw, snatched a glass, and hurled the contents into the speaker's face. Champagne splattered Lila's wedding gown. "What the hell? Do you know what this dress cost?" Curses and shrieks exploded. I didn't flinch. A festive day, celebrating my successful catch of 2 cheaters. Jace grabbed my arm, yanking me back. "Stop making yourself a spectacle. It's only a wedding. I'll throw you 10 if you want." The band on his finger dug into my wrist. I tilted my head, disgust thin and quiet. "Scumbag." His palm cracked across my face. I wiped my eyes, jerked free, poured the last drops on the floor. "Happy wedding, toasting you." The glass shattered. I walked off without looking back. The real joke is that your mother ever gave birth to an idiot like you. 8 years of love didn't collapse in a single moment. I'd known for ages that Jace and Lila were anything but normal. Right after we moved in together, he'd dash out every night. I was scrubbing boxes, dizzy with fatigue, and casually asked where he was off to. He'd muttered something about helping his little sister, Lila. Then I found the canvas artwork stashed on top of the storage cabinet, Jace nude, Lila's signature at the bottom, and the perky note. Birthday gift from Lila to Jace. Only then did I realize little sister meant childhood friend and brother meant Jace himself. I shredded the thing on the spot and flung the pieces at him. "Explain." Instead of answering me, he knelt, gathering scraps, panicking. "Damn it, Lila will freak. Yell at me if you want. Why destroy her art? She spent 3 nights on this." I planted my heel over the scrap that was his eye. I used to love his bright gaze. It always seemed full of Stella. Imagining that same look aimed at Lila turned my stomach. I ground my shoe until the paper pulp was unrecognizable. Today you strip for her portrait. Tomorrow you return the favor by stripping her clothes in bed? He shoved me, brows knit, furious. We're not like that. Life drawing, that's all. You draw too, can't you understand? Sure. And if I pose nude for my childhood friend, you'll shut up and applaud, though I doubt I could ever be that shameless. His chest heaved, words stuck in his throat. The next afternoon, Lila came to apologize in person. To play the good hostess, I cooked an entire banquet with my own hands. Before I could untie my apron and sit, Jace lifted his chopsticks, picked and poked, and complained. Lila doesn't eat shrimp or chicken. Make something else next time. I stared at the two fussy faces, my own gone cold, and snapped. I'm not your nanny. Eat or get out. He shut up and simply piled Lila's favorite dishes onto her plate. Then Lila started her baby-voiced whimpering. I didn't think things through about the wedding, Stella. Jace and I grew up together. We never stand on ceremony. You grew up with your dad too. Do you stand on ceremony with him? She choked, her whole face flaming, coughing and tattling. How can you be so crude? Jace, look at her. I chewed tasteless rice and slapped the table in irritation. If I were really crude, I'd grab the broom and sweep you out this second. Jace chose that moment to play peacemaker, topping off my glass with wine and murmuring, easy, easy. But I hate alcohol. Work has already forced too much of it down my throat. He can recite the foods Lila loathes from memory, yet he has never remembered what I like. I hadn't let go, probably because the power of a first love is too blinding. I sniffed, the overhead light beating down without mercy, yanking me out of my messy thoughts. Outside, torrential rain was falling. In ill-fitting stilettos and a soaked dress plastered to my skin, I limped back to the cramped studio I rent for painting. I'm no professional artist, just a wage slave grinding out overtime. Drawing is only my tiny private hobby. Jace hates seeing me paint at home. Every time he catches me at it, he fires off a sneer or two. Probably because his childhood sweetheart is a big-name painter. He loves comparing my canvases to hers. After one fight too many, I gave up and moved my brushes here. My phone screen lit up, then dimmed, flickered, and finally died. I curled on the sofa, buried my face in my hands, and cried. A throbbing ankle told me the sprain from this morning had ballooned. My empty stomach began to sting as well. I bit my bloodless lip, forced myself up, and tore open a cup of noodles. Steam rushed into my face, loosening some of the exhaustion. I wolfed them down, then listlessly drooped over the table. My gaze drifted to the little sketch journal on the edge. Its cover, rubbed countless times, had faded. Under the lamp the pages glowed faintly yellow. Every sheet held a different Jace, date and caption scribbled underneath. I traced the once high-spirited face in the drawing. It slowly merged with the angry mask he had worn today. My eyes reddened. 13 years of my life, thrown to a dog. I turned the page. The drawings ended in a violent scribble of black and a single line. I never want to draw again. That was the second year Jace and I were together, the second time I met Lila, at her solo show. Pointing to a canvas of Jace's wind-lifted profile, she sneered. Give some people a brush and they become Picasso. Others could have Picasso possessed them and still churn out junk. Don't you agree? I clutched the sketch journal in my pocket and shot back. Whether it's junk depends on who's looking. I don't know art, but I know trash, and your canvases aren't worth a dime to the junkman. I thought my courage came from Jace's partiality. But when I showed him my drawing, his face puckered in distaste. Tapping the eyes in the portrait, he laughed. Stella, did you draw the Loch Ness Monster? Lila's kindergarten doodles of dinosaurs look better than this. Seething, I snatched the sketch back, ripped the page out, and tossed it in the trash. I opened my phone, messages flooded in. I tapped Instagram first. Sure enough, Lila had posted 4 times in a row. Thank you, Jace, for making my dream come true, and thank you all for the blessings. Today was happiness squared. Heart, P.S. Thanks to Jace for spending the whole night cleaning my wedding gown. Jace commented underneath. Quinn, we're family. As long as I'm here, stay happy. His buddy chimed in. Our Lila was a real princess today. Forget the buzzkill losers. I hit, deciding henceforth to use that sketch journal as a coaster for cup noodles. Back in my inbox, the red dot wasn't on Jace's chat. It was on Lila's claim, which was pure taunt. It's still filthy. Jace scrubbed all night and couldn't save it. Pay up. The picture. Jace on his knees wiping her gown. I found it hilarious and answered without thinking. Let me slap you till I'm satisfied and I'll throw in medical costs. Then I opened Jace's thread. Only 2 messages showed. Stella, I know you're still mad, so I won't crowd you. I ordered takeout delivery for you. Kanji, don't let your stomach act up again. Before any warmth could reach me, the next line popped up. I got Lila's gown clean, so you don't have to pay. Just apologize to her. Both of you dirted my eyes. How about compensating me? The instant I sent that, I deleted him. I opened the door. The takeout sat alone at the neighbor's threshold. On the stair sat a grimy Jace. He sprang up the moment he saw me. I spun around, slammed the door, and let him pound until the panels shook. What the hell is your problem? Lila's my little sister. She'll be yours too. She's a sweet kid. What's wrong with spoiling her? My whole family dotes on her. I sat on the sofa watching a trashy family drama while thumbing a text. Then I blacklisted him. I never joined your family, so I don't owe her favors. And we have no future. He must have read it. His impotent roar faded, then flared one last time before silence. Stella, don't you dare regret this. I do regret. I regret wasting so many years loving you. I kept my hand on the knob, listening to Jace's confident, breezy voice inside. No need to guess he was betting with his buddies. I know her, sharp tongue, soft heart. Yesterday she said she'd come pick up her stuff. She just wants to give me an out. I'll play the pity card later and she'll be back. She always does. She's loved me forever. Think she can drop me just like that? It's not like I cheated. Once her temper cools, she'll love me the same. When I win this bet, you guys owe me a blowout feast. I shoved the door wide, strode past him without a glance, and headed straight for the bedroom. He killed the call, scrambled up, and grabbed my wrist, making sure I saw the blood seeping through the bandage. I clamped down on that wrist until he howled. You could stab yourself in the heart, and I still wouldn't care. I'd applaud your funeral. I shoved him aside and began hurling my things into the suitcase. Anything that came in couples landed on the floor. Each item I tossed, he pulled back out. I clicked my tongue, kicked him hard, looked him dead in the eye, and snarled. How much longer are you going to throw this tantrum? We're over. Can't you understand plain English? Stop using me as a wager between you and your buddies. I'm not your toy. I swept my arm across the table, sending every perfectly aligned couple's trinket crashing to the floor. He stopped his shouting, straightened, and stared at me in disbelief. You're serious, Stella. It was just a joke. Why are you this mad? I already explained. Can't you treat it like a play? Why are you so petty? You're 28, not 8. Are you playing house with her? Today you're her groom, tomorrow her kid's dad? Fine, I'll play your dad now, kowtow. I sighed, ruthlessly pried his fingers off my wrist, and said irritably, Jace, I know you don't really like me, and I know our whole relationship started as a joke. You and your friends have laughed at me long enough. I'm tired. Back then I chased Jace for ages. One day he suddenly confessed, and I thought heaven had finally smiled on me. A month later he told me it had only been a bet with his bros. I saw the mocking gleam in their eyes, twisted open my water bottle, and poured it over his head. My parents divorced when I was little, but I never lacked love. They taught me, if anyone bullies you, bully them right back. No kid from the Vance family is ever a coward. I never expected that after a while he would be the one chasing me. I knew we were a joke. His friends saw me as the bandit who'd abducted the prince, and our classmates figured it was just another Jace prank. Still, we stayed together 10 full years. 10 years nobody believed in. His tone was angry yet laced with grievance. I got with you because I truly like you. Have I ever treated you badly? Whatever you want, I give it to you. I've spoiled you rotten. I didn't want to hear his garbage. I shoved past him. He stumbled and fell, and the rebound sent me a step backward. My sketch journal hit the floor. Jace scrambled over, snatched it, and hugged it to his chest, his voice suddenly soft as he looked up pitifully. Don't go. I was wrong. I rolled my eyes and stepped squarely over his foot. First item on your agenda, repeat kindergarten. And this is my stuff. If you're that desperate, I'll burn it as an offering, how's that? Seeing his stubborn face, I felt nothing but boredom. Whatever. It's worthless anyway. Jace's phone rang at the worst moment. Against the racket in the background came Lila's tearful voice. I lost the bet and they're making me chug drinks. Come rescue me. Laughter erupted. What, calling your groom again? Jace glanced at me, hesitant, not sure how to speak. I crossed my arms and looked down at him coldly. Sorry, Stella. It's late and Lila's alone. It could be dangerous. I have to pick her up. We'll talk when I'm back. She has tons of friends. How is that dangerous? If you walk out tonight, we're through. 1, 2, 3. I bet he won't turn back. If anything happens to Lila tonight, I'll hate you forever. He said it with utter certainty, never pausing while tying his shoes, and strode out. The journal slipped from his pocket. I won the bet. Funny. Didn't he think it was dangerous the night of her wedding when I dragged my suitcase home alone? I gave a self-mocking laugh and looked around. This was supposed to be Jace's and my love nest, yet every corner held memories of him and Lila. I picked up the journal I'd stepped on, smashed every canvas on the wall, and tossed every gift he'd given me into the trash. Easier than having him come to collect debts later. As for what I'd given him, call it charity to a beggar. I moved to a new place that very night, yet every day texts arrived from different numbers. Always the same pleas to stop being unreasonable. Promises that he could make Lila apologize, take me to meet his parents, and give me a grand wedding. I blocked them all and warned him. Keep harassing me and I'll call the cops. The messages stopped. I thought it was over. But the nightmare had only begun. One evening, friends dragged me to a karaoke bar. Everyone was having fun. I was the only sober one while the rest were a drunken mess. Waiting outside the restroom for a tipsy friend, I was suddenly yanked into a private room by two wasted men. I clung to the doorframe, struggled, screamed for help, my voice drowned by booming music. They hauled me into the pitch-black booth. The air reeked of alcohol and sweat. I begged through tears, but nothing stopped their greasy hands from groping me. I kneed each of them in the groin, bolted out, seized my phone, and speed-dialed Jace. Instinct made me trust him. He'd always been the first to shield me from danger. He picked up quickly. Sobbing, I begged him to come, saying I was at a karaoke bar and needed help. All I got was impatient annoyance. What's unsafe about a karaoke bar? You've got tons of friends there. I'm helping Lila pick flowers for her birthday gala. Bye. Then Lila's syrupy voice drifted in. If Stella's really in trouble, she should call the police. Jace can't do much. Oh, and you're invited to my birthday party. The line went dead. I slid down the wall. Seeing the two staggering figures approach, I clutched a shard from a broken beer bottle, shut my eyes, and counted down. Just as they reached me, Jace burst in, shoved them away, and pulled me into his arms. I pushed him off, stumbled into the next booth, grabbed an empty bottle, and smashed it over his head. Blood streamed down. He stared in shock. I held the jagged neck toward him and screamed. Drop the hero act, Jace. You think I'll be grateful because you swooped in like some god? Right now I want you dead. He raised his hands, edging closer, voice gentle. What are you saying, Stella? Calm down. I'm here now, you're safe. I sneered and flicked away my tears. I'm not an idiot. If two grown men had really wanted me, I couldn't have escaped so easily. I heard sirens behind you on the call, and after we hung up I heard the same wail outside. Plus I never even told you which karaoke bar. Lila clicked in on her heels, shrieked at the blood on Jace's forehead. Stella, what did you do? Seeing her storm toward me, I seized her hair and slammed her head onto the table. Cold liquor soaked her hair. She wailed, clutched my hands, and begged. Sorry, I'm sorry, it was a lousy idea. They were just acting, they wouldn't have hurt you. At those words I squeezed my eyes shut, utterly hopeless. Until then I hadn't believed Jace could truly harm me. Jace sat slumped on the floor, eyes red-rimmed, clutching my ankle, his voice shaking as he apologized. I only did what Lila told me. I wanted to scare you so I could use the moment to make up with you. I was watching the whole time. Nothing terrible was going to happen. I'm sorry, it was my fault. I'll do whatever you want. He knelt and suddenly slapped himself hard across the face. Blood flooded his eyes, every trace of the usual proud composure gone. Without thinking, I tightened my grip and said coldly, but they did touch me, and they ripped my clothes. The air froze. Jace stared, crimson-eyed, at the men sprawled on the floor, snatched up a mic stand and smashed it over their heads. Knowing Jace, those two would be half-crippled for life. When Lila heard the screams, she thrashed wildly. Stella, please, I swear I didn't think they'd actually cross the line. I got the idea from some dumb TV drama. I seized her hair and banged her forehead against the table, smeared the blood from my hand across her face, leaned in and whispered, You're paying, every last bit. She suddenly cackled like a lunatic and hissed, You're dead. I dialed 911. Jace and the two half-dead men were dragged to Riverdale for assault. Lila walked free. Lack of evidence. But the filth she's done goes way beyond this. On the third morning after the brawl, an unknown number texted me. I mess up, bat my lashes, and Jace forgives me. I still have my parents, and you've got no one. Beg me and maybe I'll let you off. Moments later, several gossip headlines about me hit the trending tab. One, a full press release. Brazen homewrecker crashes renowned painter's wedding, seducing men her weapon of choice. It breathlessly rehashed the reception fiasco, splashed those staged KTV photos, and branded me an escort girl. The comment section swarmed with righteous judges. Sluts like her should be paraded in shame. Look at that homewrecker, flaunt it. What if she sinks her claws into my husband? Don't blur her face, warn the rest of us. How hot can she be? I want to see drool, drool. Names and faces were pixelated, but netizens love a scavenger hunt. Soon the homewrecker had nowhere to hide. The second blast came from Lila's own verified account. Her sob story claiming I'd broken up her marriage. With her looks on constant loop in talk shows and her canvases on every feed, she's half showbiz already. So the agency fingered me at once. The moment I stepped in the office felt like a zoo. Whispered sideshows everywhere. Mr. Harris summoned me, gave an embarrassed sigh, patted my shoulder and intoned, "I know it's bogus, but I can't gag the whole crowd. To keep our name clean, you'll have to take a leave of absence." He paused, rubbed my hand with his thumb, leaned in sleazy and murmured, "I truly value your talent. How about a foreign posting? You'd shine over there, and all it costs is one night with me." I jerked away, slapped him hard, and sneered, "On your pathetic salary, your widow might not even see $300 when you drop dead. I'd come to quit." I clicked stop on the recorder, marched back to my cubicle. Someone had scrawled homewrecker across every file and screen, and my keyboard swam in water. I scanned the room. Only 2 idiots here would be this blatant. I packed up, grabbed the leftover breakfast soy milk, circled to the first moron's desk and upended it. Papers soaked, curls of gluey milk dripping into her shellacked updo. Shit! My hair! That report took 4 all-nighters. Silent, I spun her neighbor around, yanked his pristine white shirt tail and scrawled bitch in scarlet lipstick. I wiped the smudge from my mouth, flipped the gawking crowd the bird, and strode out on my heels. Time to execute my plan. With Lila fanning the flames, her fanboys doxed my address and dug up my family tree. Mum rang after ages, sobbing. "Stella, Leo was cornered at school. Hit his head, he's in ICU. Strangers keep circling. I've called the police. Be safe." Tears streamed, my whole body shook. Mum taught us plenty, never how to swallow insults. The rumor mill had reached campus. Some kids repeated my gossip, Lila's trolls egged them on. Leo snapped and fought back, skinny kid against a pack. The photo they sent showed my once bouncy little brother motionless amid tubes, Mum gaunt, a stitched gash above her brow. I told her to hold on. I'd finish this. Staring at Lila's smiling promo shots online, I thought of another girl who should still be grinning. Lydia, painting prodigy. 1 letter apart from Lila, yet one's trending while the other's 6 feet under. Lila murdered her, same playbook. Lila copied Lydia's award-winning canvas, burst onto the art scene, then framed the real talent for plagiarism. She bribed classmates to torment Lydia, paid for smear posts, sent creeps to stalk her home. Teachers with reputations to protect hushed it up. Her father is the school board chairman. Depression swallowed Lydia. She never saw another spring, died in a Christmas snowstorm. I still recall the photo, white drifts her scarlet blood. We weren't friends. I only knew her through headlines and acquaintances. The night before I flew out, a classmate recounted the old scandal. Turns out the copycat was Lila. Genius? No, money and win influence stacked her pedestal, bones buried underneath. She'll pay in her own currency. Lila cherishes Jace. Let Jace loathe her. I wasn't sure the KTV fiasco soured him enough, so I added weight. At Riverdale I faced Jace, unshaven, bruise-ringed eyes. Ignoring his apologies, I dropped one calm sentence. "Did you know Lila hired 2 gay guys to force-kiss you? Just to see if you're gay?" That was the biggest reason Jace's homophobia ran so deep. That day he and I were walking home together. Ducked into a bodega for a soda, and when I came out I saw 2 guys sprawled on the sidewalk while Jace wiped his mouth in disgust. I tracked those 2 boys down later. They told me a girl named Lila had slipped them $20 to test whether Jace was gay. I didn't know Lila then. I thought it was just some random prank. The incident became Jace's forbidden zone. Once, joking, I asked if he might be gay. He froze me out for 3 solid days. Watching his lips tremble now, I knew he remembered. Whether he would turn on Lila or not, I no longer cared. Rumors cost nothing, but I would strike back with facts. I pulled every string I could to reach the people who'd been close to Lydia, but almost all of them clamped up as if the topic were cursed. Then someone knocked on my door. A girl with a buzz cut who said she'd been Lydia's friend. She handed me Lydia's suicide note, her original canvas artworks, and a joint statement smeared with countless inked fingerprints, their attempt to speak out. She hugged me, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. "No matter how this ends, thank you for bringing Lydia into the spring." I patted her back, stared at the girl beaming in the paintings, and choked out. She always belonged to spring. I kept scrolling through Lila's old-school forum and found thread after thread roasting her. Most had been locked. At the very bottom I spotted a messy titled post. Inside, the hate ran for hundreds of floors. Users accused her of bullying, of stealing the student council presidency, of poaching other girls' boyfriends. I messaged a few posters asking if they'd film a short testimony. I hadn't expected replies, yet answers trickled in. When I asked if they wanted their faces blurred, they said it didn't matter. No one ever remembers the victim's name or face anyway. A wave of sorrow hit me, but I still typed back. I'll remember. Someone will. My phone lit up. Jace's buddy had sent chat screenshots. We'd only ever exchanged, hey, when we swapped numbers. I tapped it open, photo after photo of Lila overseas. Pills on tongues, orgies in hotel rooms, nothing like the pure little flower image she sold. I didn't reply. In the end, I stitched every clip together, packaged the files, and uploaded the full exposé through my journalist friend's Weibo account. The timing was perfect. 2 days earlier, a campus bullying suicide had already shoved the topic onto every trending tab. Views snowballed. The video was brutal. Survivors bearing scars, speaking in flat voices, friends weeping for the dead who would never thank them. Only they knew how many years of pain lay beneath those calm faces. Outrage exploded. Netizens screamed for zero tolerance for campus violence and online abuse. And when the wave turned on Lila, brand new cyberbullying began. So be it. She'd earned every drop. Later, Jace filed a real-name report that Lydia's father had taken bribes and embezzled funds. The Wynn family became rats everyone chased through the gutter, and the Kingsleys, entangled with them, took heavy collateral damage. None of that concerned me anymore. Leo finally opened his eyes. On our video call, he grinned and asked if I'd been eating properly. The classmates who'd hurt him were dealt with by Mom herself. They got exactly what they deserved. When spring blossoms burst open, I decided it was time to go home. I packed everything, said goodbye to the handful of people I knew in this city. In the crowded Riverdale terminal, no one notices anyone. I pulled my suitcase toward the gate, but through the noise I heard Jace's voice. I didn't slow, I walked faster. His longer legs still caught up. He was thinner, haggard, his suit a wrinkled mess. He caught my wrist, stepped in front of me, and dropped to one knee. He flipped open a small velvet box. A diamond ring glinted inside. Onlookers gathered, clapping, cheering, phones already recording. He looked up, earnest and solemn. I was immature. I didn't know how to love someone. But I've grown. Will you give me a chance to change? He swallowed, then burst out. Will you be my bride? Amid the whoops, I lifted the sparkling ring, so dazzling, then let it fall. It hit the floor with a tiny clink, instantly insignificant. I shook my head and sighed. Bride? No. But I might RSVP to your funeral. His head drooped, voice low. What will it take for you to forgive me? I spoke gently, softest tone I'd used with him in years. You stabbed so many blades into my heart. When I pulled them out, the blood gushed. So I planted flowers in the wounds, watered them with that blood. I won't let them wilt again. He yanked out my old sketch journal, thrust it at me. Here, this is yours. I flipped it open. Every page was a blur of ink. The toilet soak had done its work. I dropped the notebook on the ground and turned away. I don't need it anymore. A skinny girl in a black baseball cap sprinted at me with a knife, shrieking that she would kill me. Jace lunged and shoved me aside. The blade was inches from his heart. I grabbed the girl's wrist, twisted hard. The knife clattered to the floor. Dad had made sure I knew how to fight. Under the cap was Lila's chalk-white face. She stared, teeth sunk into her bleeding lip, saying nothing. Security dragged her away. I exhaled, glad the knife hadn't connected. I didn't want to waste time attending his funeral. I turned, bowed deeply, and said with real gratitude, Thanks. Goodbye. His lips quivered. Will we ever meet again? I didn't answer. I boarded the plane home. Later I heard Lila swallowed a bottle of pills, the wedding ring from Jace clenched in her fist. Jace wound up in intensive care after he shielded a teenage girl from a guest assaulting her in a hotel corridor. I wiped dust from our family portrait. Mom and me in wedding gowns beaming, little Leo in a tux holding our hands like a tiny grown-up. All of them feel like they belong to another lifetime. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked the video, please hit like and share it with friends. We can't wait to read your comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.